This channel supports Extra Life in its efforts to raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. For more information about how to donate and join in their efforts, go to the link displayed here. Extra Life. Play games, heal kids. What up, everybody? This is your boy Black Magus, and Sony did their press briefing for Paris Game Week 2015. Now, a lot of you probably saw that and was like, what the hell? Because, you know, Paris Game Week has not been a big deal beforehand, but now all of a sudden it became a big deal when Sony decided to not do a Gamescom presentation and shift their major press briefing to Paris Game Week, which I thought at the time was a pretty smart move. It separated them from having to deal with the head-to-head contention for your attention at Gamescom, and gave them a platform to where they pretty much were going to dominate the scene, because no other company had any major promotions or any strong backing to Paris Game Week. So it ended up being kind of like a mini PlayStation experience for them, and I thought it ended up being pretty damn good. As usual, Sony did what they normally do. They showed a wide range of games from different genres for people. Now I'm sure some of this, probably a lot of this, isn't going to appeal to the mainstream, but I think for their fan base, they did a good job of the presentation. So they began, of course, with Call of Duty Black Ops 3, because that's probably their next big drop, since they have no first party games to speak of this fall. And the deal with Call of Duty, they seem to want to make this, work as well as possible. It's a big deal for Sony, I guess, to get this, even though a lot of people contend that Call of Duty's kind of fallen off. Having that like first DLC is not that big a deal, blah blah blah. I honestly would agree if it wasn't for the fact that Call of Duty's not going anywhere anytime soon. People are still hyped. I know people who were saying exactly what I just said, who are now all of a sudden dying to get their hands on Black Ops 3. So, it's going to turn out to be a pretty good deal for Sony in the end. But me personally, I'm just like, okay, I had fun with the beta. I'm probably not that hyped like y'all are. The Zombies trailer looked cool and all, but it's Call of Duty. And, yeah, I'm not that hyped. That's just me. Anyway, then they followed with Star Wars Battlefront, which of course I am hyped for, and I really cannot wait to get my hands on. I was sitting there like geeking out at the fan service they did in that trailer, where they showed pretty much all the heroes in action. You have Leia, the support class, Han with his pistol, Emperor Palpatine and Luke at the end going at it. That was really, really cool. Where's Chewie though? I would love it if they had Chewie. If they had Chewbacca, then that would be complete. Oh, and I love the Boba Fett part where he flies over the Sarlacc. Yes, I know the name of the monster. I'm a fucking Star Wars fanatic. He flies over the Sarlacc pit, and he looks down as he's flying over. It's like, that won't happen again. I thought that was very, very clever of them to throw that in there. That was really, really cool. But, I mean, the environments from the beta looked great. It ran smooth. At this point, all they have to do is just not completely ship a broken product that fell apart from the beta. You know what I mean? I think Star Wars Battlefront is going to do very well. And of course, they talked about that you get the Darth Vader edition, PlayStation 4 exclusives, content, blah blah blah. Pretty much the beginning was mostly about exclusive content for Sony. Then of course they showed Street Fighter 5, which is an exclusive. They're paying to have this game developed, so it is a PlayStation and PC only game. Looks good. And then they showed Dawson. It was cool to see Dawson, and then they gave a release date, February 16th, which I thought was cool too. Now we know when to get it. A couple of more betas, I believe, coming down the pipeline. So I'm not saying pre-order it to get it, but like I always suggest people, if you want to try something out, go to Amazon, pre-order it. You don't put any money down. Once you get the code, input the code, cancel the pre-order, and you can play the beta without no worries about getting charged for the game or coming out of pocket at all for the game to try it out. I've heard good things about it. I've heard some pretty good things. Tekken 7 was shown. Well, not really shown. They talked about it, and then they showed a new trailer. So that was cool. And they dropped something later, which I will get to when I get to that part of it, that I thought was quite interesting. And I'm wondering how that's going to work out. But of course, there's exclusive PS4 content, yada yada yada. That's pretty much the theme. Either it was an exclusive, a game coming to them first, or they had exclusive content. That was Sony's whole theme. Now, Battleborn is another one that falls in that realm. PlayStation 4 gets the beta for consoles first. Of course, we saw the crazy drop during Paris Game Day, where they actually let a lot of people play on PC. A bunch of top Twitch people flew out to wherever Blizzard was doing this, and they let them play it. I'll give my thoughts on that in another video, but yeah, I got to see Battleborn, but it'll be on PS4 beta. The PS4 beta will be out first, so that's cool. Console people will get a chance to get their hands on that. Then they showed this game called Boundless, which I had not heard before. It looks interesting. It seems like it's going the route of the No Man's Sky type of game. They didn't talk about it, so I don't know if it is like a progressive game. I'm gonna have to do some research. It'll look interesting. Probably the throwaway of the conference is a game called Avicii Vector. You heard me, Avicii Vector. Yes, it is a video game that was created. It seems like it's one of those rhythm games, but they brought in Avicii to work on it and develop it. If you don't know who Avicii is, look up the song Wake Me Up with Aloe Black. That's Avicii. He's actually a pretty good producer. I like a few of his songs, but I was just like, okay, do we need this? And is Avicii like, I guess that was the thing for the European crowd to get hyped over. They didn't seem that hyped as far as I was paying attention. Then they showed No Man's Sky, which is still looking very intriguing. Looks great, but they dashed the hopes of a lot of rumor mongers. Remember, there was a rumor going around where, based off an Amazon link, which again shows you guys, don't fucking pay attention to what Amazon puts in their store, please. They get you every time. You know, it was rumored that this game was possibly dropping at the end of October this month, and then they put up at the end of the trailer June 2016. So got a minute until No Man's Sky is gonna drop, people. So chill out, relax, don't wear yourself out waiting with anticipation. Just play other games and try not to think about it until it becomes closer to reality, okay? Then they showed a trailer for the next Housemarque game. If you don't know who Housemarque is, they made Dead Nation, they made Resogun, they made damn, I cannot think of the name of that game, but they've made a couple of twin stick shooters on the PlayStation 4. They also made Outland? Outland, that's the game. They made Outland. They made some really good games. This, based off just the CGI trailer, may be very intriguing because, again, color comes into play like it was in Outland, the blue and the red. But Didn't really get to see much that indicates exactly what's going on. Cool looking trailer though. But it's Housemarque, as I said. I definitely expect it to be a quality game. Got to see the Ratchet and Clank trailer. That was still looking gorgeous. That Ratchet and Clank on the PS4. I mean, on the PS3, it was always a pretty good looking game, but the colors and stuff just really pop right now on the PS4. Then they did a gameplay demo of Horizon Zero Dawn. We got to know a little bit more about that. It's an action RPG. I was curious whether or not it was a action adventure game. I assumed it was like a third-person action adventure game, but no, it's an action RPG. So, is this going to be something that's going to be more along the lines of the Witcher series? That would be cool if it was, because it seems like an interesting environment. The fact that this is the future, but things are a little bit more primal with these creatures that are roaming the planet. Curious to see how this is going to turn out. I think it could be a really good game as long as they execute well, and it would be nice to see Guerrilla Games get a hit outside of a first-person shooter. You know. Then they showed a trailer talking about November 24th, I believe they said. Bloodborne, the old hunt. That monster in there looked disgusting. I swear to God, those guys who create the Bloodborne Dark Souls series, y'all got some problems, cause y'all be coming up with some. Oh my God, that shit is definite nightmare fuel. Then Drive Club bikes. They're adding bikes to Drive Club. It's an expansion pack, I believe. I'm not sure if it's they didn't really say whether it was an expansion pack or a standalone. I'm assuming it's an expansion pack, but it's available right now on PlayStation Network. So if you are into Drive Club, check it out. You get more Drive Club with bikes. Yeah. Anyway, they showed a Gravity Rush 2 trailer. Looks great. Gravity Rush, if you've never owned a Vita, you missed out. Gravity Rush was a very interesting game. The concept, I'm curious as to how the concept's going to work on the full screen and how it's going to look. Because on the Vita, it made sense since the motion, the gyroscope or whatever they call it inside it kind of help you with your maneuver. It's going to be interesting to see how they do that. Anyway, got to see a trailer for Uncharted multiplayer. They call it the reveal. It really wasn't, because that's not how the game's gonna play. You're not gonna be transitioning from character to character like freely like that, doing all this crazy stuff. But they're having people play it at Paris Game Week, so hopefully we'll get to see some actual footage come out of there. December 4th, I believe, is when they said the beta is gonna drop. Problem is, unless you bought Uncharted Nathan Drake collection, you're probably not gonna see this. Although I could see them doing a exclusive for a couple of days and then opening it up to everybody afterwards. I think that's what's gonna end up happening. That's why I didn't get Uncharted Nathan Drake collection, besides not having the money and not liking the fact that Co-op Arena wasn't in there. But hopefully they'll do that, have it closed for a few days, and then they just open it up to everybody so I can get my hands on it. But early December, you're gonna see that. They showed a lengthy gameplay demo of the game Dreams, the new Media Molecule game. The game looks very intriguing. It looks really cool. Like, seeing gameplay help flesh out what you can imagine. It seems like they're going to try to take the elements that help make Little Big Planet popular with the creation and all of that, and put that into the gameplay where you can create on the fly and change the landscape and things like that, and still interact with it. And it looks pretty damn interesting. Definitely want to see more of this. Definitely want to see more to get a better grasp on it. But it definitely did intrigue me. And then we get to the VR section of the show, where you see the game out, and they did a lot of talk about PlayStation VR. They showed actually games. They showed a lot of games. Sony seems to be putting more investment in this than any other peripheral I've seen them in a long time, and that's good. They had something called RIGS, Mechanized Combat League, where people are riding around on these like weird bipeds and flying around with like these crazy jetpacks with guns, picking each other off, not killing each other, I'm assuming, but running around this map trying to score goals. I'm really not totally clear on what was going on, but it was just like, you know, a lot of action in that. There's going to be an Until Dawn VR game. It looks like it's a joyride type of thing. Not sure, because they showed you getting into like minecart and kind of going into a house and stuff popping up at you, which was kind of interesting. Crytek came out and they talked about a game called Robinson the Journey, where you're on this island or in some world and you're walking around and there's dinosaurs and stuff all over the place. It looks like it looks gorgeous, first of all, but it looks like something that would scare the shit out of you, because you run into a pack of dinosaurs. What the hell? How are you gonna react, especially if it's like that thing that they showed at the end? Then they showed Battlezone, which is a tank game. Basically, you're going around in tanks, shooting stuff. Interesting background. Then they did a sizzle reel. One thing that they showed before the sizzle reel, a couple of things. And sorry, I'm going through the notes of announcements and this link that I was sent to recap what I watched. Thanks again, Prodigy, for sending me. But this dude, he kind of left out a huge chunk of the VR portion. I guess he must have walked out of the room at this time. They put the sizzle reel after the Battlezone thing. But no, they had a couple of things that they talked about. One being The Walk, that movie that just dropped with what's his name? I always get his name so messed up. The kid from Third Rock from the Sun. Jesus, somebody's gonna correct me. Anyway, they're gonna have a simulator for that for PlayStation VR, where you have to walk a tightrope like he did while across a building. Fuck out of here. My acrophobia kicked in like tenfold on that, and I was like, nope, you'll never get me to touch something like that. And then they mentioned that Tekken 7 is going to have VR in it, which I am very curious to know how the fuck they're gonna pull that out. I mean, how are you gonna pull that off? It's a first person shoot. I mean, it's a fighting game. It's not a first person shooter, anything like that. But okay, I'm curious to see how they're gonna pull that off. Definitely. Then of course, they get to the sizzle reel. They show like all the different games. It looks like they're trying to build up a library early on to get this thing off the ground with a lot of interesting games backing it, which is something they didn't do for the PlayStation Move or the PlayStation Eye. So this is, in my opinion, a different step. Maybe it's because of the investment that it took to create this VR headset and that they want to get a return off of it. I don't know, but it felt like they wasted time with PlayStation Move and PlayStation Eye. Now they seem like they're actually giving a damn about this VR thing. So we'll see though. We'll see as it gets closer. Gran Turismo Sport was announced. There's going to be a beta early next year. Oh, and that's going to have PlayStation VR as well, which makes sense, a driving game with VR. Then they showed, I think, the thing that was the biggest thing for me. I thought it would have been Horizon, but Wild by Michael Ansel of Raymond fame. That looks amazing. I don't even know really how to describe it, because it seems like you're this shaman who can project his spirit inside of animals and take control of them. And like you were flying around as a hawk, and you went down and you picked up a snake to help use as bait for something. He took over a pack of crows and had them attack this tribe that was, I guess, a rival tribe. He fucking gave a bear call. A bear comes up and lets him get on his back. Then he attacks the tribe with the bear, and the bear is just like doing what he says, ran up, yelling. It kind of got freaky at the end with that snake lady. I don't know what the fuck was up with that, but that game looks crazy. It looks really, really crazy. It wasn't on my radar, but it is now. Definitely is on my radar. And then they pretty much closed the show out with David Cage. He came out and introduced this new game called Detroit Become Human. And of course, for what I understand, people are going nuts over the title, because it's just like, Detroit, really? You just called your game Detroit. But you know, it's another one of his, like, what do we do with our emotions and feelings, and what makes us this and that. This is basically about a android, it seems, that wants to be considered human, and it's challenging the question of what makes someone human and things like that. So it's going to be another trippy ride by him. I'm going to follow it, because I do find his like way of development, the way that he presents his games, fascinating. He's not like Peter Molyneux batshit insane, but he's a little out there. He's a little out there, and he's a little more on target with his message than Peter Molyneux. Peter Molyneux will tell you that his game's gonna, like, you know, cure world hunger and all of that, and just like, you know, he really believes that his games are these crazy, amazing things. I mean, hey, give him credit. Peter Molyneux is a hell of a salesman, whereas David Cage seems to kind of want to appeal to your, like, I guess you could say, intellectual side and your emotions. Tap into that and try to draw you in. Or Peter Molyneux just tell you, hey, I just created the greatest thing in the world, and if you don't get it now, you're a fool. Bye, bye, bye. You know, he's a great salesman. He's a great salesman. But that was pretty much and that was pretty much it for PlayStation Game Week. I can't think of anything. Paris Game Week. I say PlayStation Game Week. For the Paris Game Week conference, I can't think of anything major that I missed. Sorry guys, no Last Guardian stuff, so you didn't get the feels anymore. No idea of I mean, we saw that Cambridge is working on that VR game, that Riggs game, but no indication on what they're doing, just as a base PlayStation 4 game. So, you know, no siphon filter, if that's what you were expecting. I'm assuming that a lot more first-party stuff is going to be held in chat for PlayStation Game Week, so we will see there. But overall, it was a solid show. They definitely had a lot of stuff that they showed that was interesting, very diverse, very PlayStation. But anyway, this video is long enough. I'm gonna go ahead and do some individual blurps and give like more detail on some of the things that stood out to me. So look out for that. And as always, hit me up. Let me know what you think, and I'll holler at you later. This your boy Black Megas, and I'm out. Deuces.